Alright, let's take a look at some of the key games from Week 11 in AFL. Swag's Cleveland Browns improved to 5-5 on the season with a 40-36 victory over Mustangs Dallas Cowboys. At 5-5, Swag is still in the hunt in the AFC wildcard picture. SJR's Jacksonville Jaguars keep their share of first place in the AFC South with a 35-20 victory over Josh Garland's Chicago Bears. SJR's Jaguars improved to 6-4 on the season. KJ's Green Bay Packers get a 41-27 victory over Guru's Saints. The Saints are still in first place in the AFC South, tied with JD's Falcons. Both teams are 5-5, and the Packers are in first place in the NFC North. A big victory for Danny Sanchez's San Francisco 49ers as they get a 31-25 victory over Prime's Arizona Cardinals in Arizona. We talked about on the midseason podcast that the NFC West was a three-team race, but we were talking about Bailey, Prime, and Roman. Danny Sanchez was the forgotten guy, but with this victory, he improves to 6-4 and turns us into a four-team race. So a big victory for the 49ers and a very tough loss for the Arizona Cardinals. How about E-Dub's Titans? They get back in the victory column with a 23-7 victory over the Detroit Lions and Cheese Jr. For E-Dub, he keeps his share of first place in the AFC South, improves to 6-4, and sets up a big matchup against SJR next week. The last game we're going to talk about this week is my Buffalo Bills, 24-21 over Reese's Miami Dolphins. My Bills are now 9-1 on the season, and Reese's Dolphins fall to 7-3, 2 games back in the AFC East. Let's take a look at some of the Week 12 games that stand out. First one, we're going to talk about another big NFC West matchup this week for Prime. This week he takes his show on the road, goes to St. Louis to take on Roman's St. Louis Rams. Prime's in first place right now in the NFC West, but needs to get a victory. He had a tough loss last week against Danny Sanchez. Roman's a guy that's confident. He talked about it on the midseason podcast. He has a tough late season schedule. If he can get a victory over Prime, he might become the favorite here in the NFC West, especially with Bailey out of town for the next couple days. Another big matchup on the docket for Week 12. We have Cody's Kansas City Chiefs at 8-2 taking on Guru's New Orleans Saints at 5-5. Both of these teams, if the season ended today, would be in the playoffs. Cody's in great position to win the wild card, and Guru is tied for first place in the NFC South. So both of these teams need a victory, and we'll see who gets it at Arrowhead. First place in the AFC South is on the line as E-Dub's Tennessee Titans take on SJR's Jacksonville Jaguars. Both teams are 6-4, and the last time these teams met, E-Dub won on a Hail Mary at the buzzer, so this game has huge implications for both teams in the AFC South. Danny Sanchez's San Francisco 49ers look to stay in the NFC West race, and that game is already kicked off as he takes on Josh Garland's Chicago Bears. Stokes' Oakland Raiders look to stay perfect on the year. They're 10-0, look to be 11-0 as they try to improve to that record with a matchup against the 5-6 Indianapolis Colts and Luka. And I believe that's, actually the last game we're going to talk about is the biggest game on the schedule. Stop Cheese's New York Giants at 7-3 go to Minnesota to take on Nino's Vikings. Both teams are 7-3. Cheese is comfortable in his lead of the NFC East. Nino is in second place right now in the NFC North, 2 games behind KJ, and also lost their only head-to-head game. Nino needs this to stay with KJ, not only in the division, but to avoid that late season slide that Stokes predicted on the podcast. So we'll see what happens when those two NFC heavyweights do battle this week. So that's a look at Week 12. We talked about what happened in Week 11. Advance is Monday night. Get those games in, get those games scheduled, and we'll talk to you next time.